It's always interesting to me, especially after I give talks about the value of meditation and the practice that we do. How many people come up to me privately and tell me they don't meditate? Or they rarely meditate. Or they don't meditate enough. Or they find it hard to maintain a discipline. And I am totally sympathetic. It is hard. And a lot of the times, meditating seems like a total, absolute waste of time. You have so much to do. Why should I sit still and do nothing? There's so much in the world that's demanding your time and attention, and meditation is the exact opposite. It's timeless, and attention goes nowhere. It falls inward. It becomes still pointed. It becomes about nothing. And what we really discover, something Rudy talked about all the time, is layers and layers and layers of resistance. And our resistance in life is profound. We all know the things we resist. Sometimes we don't, but we have enormous resistances to the demand of life, to moving toward that which is uncomfortable, out of our comfort zone. We are looking for perpetual ease and support from a world that is totally unsupported, impermanent, and temporary. It's so obvious to anybody who thinks about it that making your home and basing your life on the comforts of the world is a completely futile gesture. Completely. It's only for a short time. And the older you get, of course, I remember my grandmother and everybody saying, life is so short. And I said, what do you mean? For me, it was like, oh my God, it's going to go on forever. And now I'm old, and now I realize it's so short. It's like nothing. And here we are, going through our lives, acting as though it's going to go on forever, and trying to build up stuff for a future that won't exist. A reputation, for example, or a legacy, or something that you could show the world you were actually here, when in fact the world will disappear with you. What are we here for? What are we called upon to do in this brief journey into the world of life and manifested being? What are we here for? I mean, there are lots of answers, obviously. But what do you think? What's your answer to that question? Why are you here? What are you doing here? What's your job? What's your obligation? What's your purpose? You know, I'm not going to give you an answer for that because it's totally up to you to figure it out. And how are you doing on your path? How are you doing? Are you doing okay? Are you getting there? Are you arriving? Are you successful in whoever's term success is measured? What is it that you're doing here? Very early on, we begin to be programmed by the world. We're programmed into a certain path, a certain kind of behavior, a certain sense of this is what life is about. And everybody gets a different program, and it depends on the culture you're born in and the parents you attracted or chose, depending upon how that works. And you're in a world that starts to tell you why you're here. You go to school, they program you. You go to college, they program you. Your friends program you. Your parents say, do this, don't do that. And by the time you graduate from all of these programs, you're basically programmed. You're locked in to a way of thinking, a way of looking, a way of being that is, to some degree or another, accepted by everybody around you, and you feel a certain level of acceptance and comfort and ease in the world, but you always know it's temporary. You always know that you make this person happy, but not that person happy. There are hierarchies of people that you can please and levels of people you couldn't care less about. But there's a world out there that you look upon as something that acknowledges your achievements or lack of achievement, that thinks that it embraces you or doesn't embrace you, and you walk through life kind of trying to do a dance of love me, accept me, honor me, see me, know me. Everybody's in this kind of journey, and mostly it's completely aimless, it's amorphic, it's amoebic. You're moving all over the place. Give me a little love, give me a little food, give me a little happiness, give me that, don't take that, don't do. It's a very strange, unformulated existence. Yeah, and it's programmed. A few people, probably everybody sitting here and listening to this talk, come to a moment where they go, what is this? What am I doing? Isn't there something more? Isn't there a bigger picture? What is life about? And there's a lot of ways of life giving you answers to that question. A lot of them are religious or spiritual or existential. You can go to places to find out what other people think this really is, and then you can make intellectual choices about, well, yeah, that's how I look at it, that's what I think, and you get affirmed in your search of your own ignorance. You find 12 people who agree with you, and you go, oh, that must be the answer because they agreed with me. In no way do we like to be challenged. In no way do we like to find that maybe we're wrong. Maybe everything we believe is completely off base. We don't really want that. But every so often, something can come and really throw you off your balance, off your rocker in a way. And you start to see nobody knows. That they don't have the answers. Nobody has the answers. Maybe there are no answers, or maybe your journey is to find the answers. Mostly, there is this sense of being burdened by life, caught in the maws of other people's demands and belief systems, and the sense of wanting to break free, wanting to get beyond all of this, wanting to have a kind of liberation as a human being, to find yourself. That's often the journey, to find the self. Who am I? And as long as you're looking out in the world, you will see emanations of other people looking for who am I, people trying to prove they know, people trying to say, well, I made $5 billion, so I clearly have the answers, and he who has the most cars wins, or whatever, toys wins. There's all of these misconstructions of what this is about. The outer journey reflects itself, and basically ignorance looks at ignorance. And we all get caught up in that incredible crush of not knowing. If you're lucky, someone, something comes into your life and goes, whoa. Stop looking outside yourself. Stop looking at the world around you for what you think you need. There's another universe with answers. There's another place you can go. And that place is inside. It's within. And there is a profound resistance to going there. And people will tell you all you have to do is sit still, dig deep, feel your way into this space, and you will find this beautiful inner truth, this solitude of beauty and wonder that exists in you. And all you have to do is go inside. Just penetrate that inert space and see what you find. I stumbled upon Rudy. I stumbled upon many teachers, actually, all over India. You know, great teachers and lesser teachers, all who told me to do this. Anytime I sat still and tried to do mantras and breathing exercises and all this stuff, I went, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I don't get it. All I had was profound resistance to it. I wanted to do it, but every time I sat still, I was filled with the noise, the rage, the ambition, all of the stuff of life that I was drawn to. And sitting still was totally alien. I fought it. It wasn't until I met Rudy where he somehow, by giving me this eyes open meditative exchange, started to give me an energy that allowed me to go, I can do this. I could draw his help. It's like somebody coming and hugging you and loving you and touching you on your shoulder and giving you an embrace and saying, it can be done. He was there, and he consistently was there. And I sat with Rudy, and I sat with his picture, and I drew these energies into myself, and I started to discover this door opening. And as it opened, I went in and in and in, and I went, oh, it's really there. And then this inner space had a kind of rising energy. It's called upliftment. It takes you into something higher. They call it higher consciousness. It has an elevated quality. It is an uprising energy. It's something that lifts you out of you into something greater. And as you enter into this greater space, you discover it's very alive and interactive with you. It has plans for you. It's dialogues with your life. There is a bigness that is beyond your body, mind, ego, that is wildly invested in you. It's the source of creativity. It's the source of love, kindness, exchange. It's informational and it's inspirational, and it is unbelievably big. And it pours into you, and then as it pours into you and you become more and more open, you create bigger reservoirs of space so you can let this energy fill the world around you. You discover it wants you to be a channel for itself. And this idea of it and you persists for a very long time, and then something happens that the barrier between it and you dissolves, and you realize there was never two. It's always been you. This uplifted, awesome, vast, eternal space is you. Focused down into this tiny molecule of being that, when it lets go of its own identity, becomes a beam of unbelievable bright light that shines into the world and touches people and uplifts people and brings them back into this vastness of being that you truly are. It is so wondrous, so big, so beautiful, so worth every time you sat down to meditate. This discovery becomes more and more and more generous, more informational, more inspirational, more loving, more giving than you could ever imagine. And you walk around feeling not only lucky, but just grateful. Grateful. Wow. How did I stumble upon this? Why am I so lucky? And all you want to do is share your luck with people. Share it. Touch them. Say, it's right here. It's right here now. This is it. You are that thing you're looking for. You are that beam of light. You are the vastness of the universe focused down into this tiny little insignificant nothing that can explode into the unbelievable vastness of all truth and being. How? How does that happen? I don't know. I have no clue. But I witness it every day. I witness it when I sit with you. I witness it when I sit with myself, when I go with my walks. I witness it looking at everything in the world. It all reflects back at me with its own beauty. I get to see the beauty as its formed self. I can see it as its unformed, unmanifested self. But watching it from both sides through this razor's edge of being, seeing the outer and the inner as the same truth, the same thing, is so remarkable. It is so much the gift of being, the why of being. And then I look at everybody and they go, oh, I don't know. What practice should I do? Where should I go? I don't have time. I got stuff to do. I got life to live. I got all these problems. And I look at them and I go, okay. You got problems. You got it. Have fun. What can I say? What can you say to that? You hear it all the time. I don't have time to sit. I don't have time to meditate. I don't have time to go to the gym. I don't have time to cook a good meal. I don't have time to be loving and kind to other human beings. I've got stuff to do. I am busy. If I don't do, I'm going to end up in who knows what. The truth is, you are going to end up in who knows what. It gets really awful because this uplifted space is there for you, and your primary reason for being is to be in touch with it and in service of it. And ultimately to learn that it is you yourself. That's what we're here for. I don't care what excuses anybody has. I don't care how brilliant your excuse is. It's complete bullshit. Complete, absolute bullshit. There is no reason not to fall in love with yourself. Not to get in touch with this unbelievable, unbearable beauty that is also unacceptably difficult to embrace, but worth it. It's worth it. Every second is worth it. And my experience is that it is only becoming more. I don't even know how it becomes more, because it's already completely full and everything. But it just goes, whoa, more, whoa, more. And the only way to bear the bigness of it is to get out of the way. And ultimately, it just washes you clean and it scrubs you until there's nothing left of you. Nothing left. You are just it. You are it. And you are in the world for one reason, to love it. And to love every element of it. To embrace it. To fill it with your kindness and your compassion and your understanding and your embrace, and to be the thing that the world is looking for. There is no one here who is incapable of that. No one. The only incapable thing is you're thinking you're incapable, or you're being lost in your own drama. All day, all night lost. The incredible, unfortunate truth is that this whole manifested state can only exist for a short period of time. It can only exist through the effort of enormous creative forces. It comes into being so you can wake up, so you can know who you are, so you can touch yourself, so you can embrace others and know that they're you. It's a big effort for the universe to make itself known, to build you, to create your body, to create your mind, to create your life, to all the stuff that you have to live with is so hard to make. And it seems often imperfect. Worlds are often less than what we want them to be. We don't get what we think we deserve. We have struggles in life, we have losses, we have sadness, but it comes in, and trust me, none of it will last that long. The worst of it will go away. The best of it will go away. Everything goes away, except this. I'm telling you it doesn't go away because that's my profound sense of it. And I may be wrong. It may go away. It may end up in absolute 100% nothing. But if that's true, it's better than the profound sense of loss that most people endure when life begins to deconstruct itself, to disintegrate, to disappear. If you haven't learned to cooperate with the inevitable, if you haven't learned to hand yourself over to the very thing that's going to dismantle you, if you haven't learned to go, thank you, thy will be done, to give up everything that they're going to take anyway, if you haven't learned to do that, the last years of your life are going to be a horror show of some sort or another. And I hate to say that, but I've seen it in so many people. You know, it's just loss, 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 instead of free, 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 free. The possibility of profound enlightenment and awakening for every human being is available. It is available. It's wanted. It wants you to have it. The only obstacle between you and it recognizing one another is your resistance to it. Your ego-minded hostility to the possibility that you could be everything there ever was or will be. Why do you want to be this molecule of you when you could be the totality? Why? Explain it to me. You know? I mean, I get it. I was that. I mean, I know what it's like to think that the universe is about you, because it is, but to think it's about you, period. It's not. The universe is about every one of you. It's about everybody. It's about the total mixture of beings. You are absolutely loved, adored, centered, focused, essential to the universe. Your ego, as I spoke about yesterday, is crucial to the universe, but it is not the only thing in the universe. It's a molecule. And when you learn to let go of that molecule or the attachment to that molecule, you will discover you are all there is. So, if you are lucky enough to stumble upon a practice and then not do the practice, you know, at some point there's going to be blame. And you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it. Why didn't I? I had this amazing life given to me, and I was too busy for it. You know, I don't like fire and brimstone speeches, really, and I don't mean this to be that. But boy, oh boy, this is the opportunity. This is it, guys. This is the life. You've got it. This is the time. It's not the next time. This is it. I don't care if you sit every day. I really don't. I don't sit every day. I think I've told you that. I got to a point where walking around and sitting were the same thing. This is that. If you're feeling that, then don't sit. It's fine. It's fine. But walk around and look and see the world you're in. If you're seeing it clearly, your experience will be very simple. It will be one of unending gratitude. If you're walking around with unending gratitude, if you are looking at the cracks in the wall and seeing beauty, if you're looking at rust on the tires of or on the body of an old truck and you see beauty, you will know that you're there. You will walk around with the thank you, the perpetual thank you, and you will not believe how big that can get and how constant it can be. If you're walking around and go, wow, wow. If you're walking around and feeling sad and grief and despair, but really feeling it, you will know you're there. Because one thing that's going to come in awakening is not freedom from that, but the absolute experience of that. You will feel everything, and you will realize that that everything is so much a gift. Finally being alive enough to not try to drink your way out of sadness, smoke your way out of the failures of your past. Whatever your thing is, you will find a way finally to open to it all and go, even this It's so ultimately, imminently, present tense, beautiful. Beautiful. And all I want is for you to see that. That's all I want. And if you're sitting here in your mind and you can hear yourselves, yeah, but, as somebody said to me, but you won an Oscar, so you have a different you have a different perspective. I never know what to say to that. I really don't, because I've had a lot of great stuff. You know, I have kids who I love tremendously. I have grandchildren who I love tremendously. A wife that I've lived with and had a marriage with for almost 50 years. You know, it's nice houses. Yeah, I've had all that stuff, and I know it's all going away. It's all going away. I look at my own career. I talked about this quite a bit. You know, every movie I got to make was a source of unbearable suffering. Being rewritten, being told this isn't good enough, we don't want it that way, we want it our way, get rid of that, throw it out, we're not going to make it. On and on and on. Every life has its mixture of beauty and sadness. You walk home with an Oscar, what do you do with it? You either put it in the living room so everyone in the world can see it and tell you how wonderful you are, or I put it in my bedroom when I got home that night next to the bed, and it's still there. People who want to see my Oscar have to go in my bedroom. You know, and I don't care about that. It was a completion of something. It got it done, and it's finished. You move on to whatever life brings next, and the past falls away so completely that ultimately you are not living with what was, and you're not thinking about what will be. You're just here now. Present tense now. If you're holding on to your successes and failures, your dreams, your dramas, your things that didn't happen and things that might happen in the future, if you're holding on to all that stuff, you're going to suffer. That's all I can tell you. And it's a good suffering. It's real. It's human suffering. But here's what happens at the end of life. Forgive me for pontificating as though I know, but the feeling is the upliftment you were looking for in your day-to-day life, the overcoming, the overriding factor of trying to let go of the smallness of you so you can touch the uprising bigness of you, is as you begin to leave the body-mind construct of the world you were in to reach back into the infinite that you are, you will see all of this bigness and you will feel pulling you down all the weight of everything you didn't do, should have done, might have done, and rather than rising up into the embrace of the infinite, you will be sucked down into the failure and the misery of the mind-created being that you think you are, and that will be tragic. Because that's not who you are or who you were, but you didn't learn that in this lifetime because you were too busy to learn what was waiting for you to learn. This is all you got. This is it. This is the totality. Either you do it now or you don't do it. But I will tell you, as it wants to lift you up into its embrace, into the bigness of being, both through your meditative process and in the final moment of your life, you will either know how to surrender everything and rise, or you will be caught. Remember, you take nothing with you. Rudy's entire practice is surrender. Please help me to surrender. Let stuff go now, so when the time comes to lift off the earth, you're not carrying one thing. Nothing. Not even your name. No story, no history, nothing. You have used this practice, this meditative life, this conscious universe of learning to do one primary thing, which is let go and let God, really. That's the work. Let go. And when you do that, it becomes everything you'd ever hoped it might be. Truly amazing, truly alive, truly available, bigger than the mind can ever anticipate. And there is, at that moment, as there has been and would have been in your life if you've done it, The gratitude and the thank you will resonate through time and space and beyond time and space. You will be a walking, resonating thank you. You know, I don't know how many speeches like this you need to hear. I don't know what you need to get to that finally says, okay, I'll do it. I'll try it. You know, I'll sit today. Sit here and go through it. I'll try to make it happen. Not working. Eat some ice cream. And you know, that thing. What can somebody say? What can you say? I can't say it. It's your voice. It's your persona. It's your internal personality. It's your hunger. It's your drama. Nobody else can make it happen. Just you. You have unbelievable power. You have the power of all time and space, infinite being, to get it right. You literally have that power. It is your power. All you have to do is open to it and let go of the part of you that feels separate from it. Let it come through, let it infiltrate the system and bring you a level of joy and completion that you have wanted your entire being, and you've had lifetime upon lifetime upon lifetime to try to find. Why not do it now? So I can spin this wheel for another 10 hours, but I'm going to stop. If the message hasn't come through, forgive me. You can play this tape again. I really mean what I say. I'm really serious. I cannot tell you how amazing and glorious your life could be, or let's put it more wonderfully, how glorious it is if you just get out of your own way and accept the truth and the beauty of it. Take that with you. Any questions?
There may be more comments than a question, but not every time you sit do you have that sense of incredible uplifting and getting in touch with the greater self. And there needs to be something that brings you back to sitting again the next time. And I think it's the promise of the possibility that, motivates you to keep.
Promise, faith in the fact that it will deliver at some point. I mean, that's all there. What my experience was, it gave you a bite of the carrot every so often. You got enough bites of the carrot to go, oh, that's good. Maybe next time. Then it doesn't happen the next time. Then it's really a matter of discipline and commitment. Commitment is really important. And saying, I'm going to do this. That's why Rudy said to me, day one, first class I ever had with him, sitting on that subway grate outside of his store, he said, if you're going to do this, you got to do it every day for the rest of your life. That's the only way it happens. He didn't say, do it once a month, or come to a retreat up in Big Indian 3 times a year. He didn't say that. He said every day. And so I did. And my experience of sitting every day was exactly what you're saying. There were days where nothing happened. It was, or appeared to be, a total waste of my sitting. I could have been doing other things. But the aggregate of sitting over time, over 44 years of sitting, was something was starting to take place. And there were times in my sitting where I never wanted to get up again. I did not want to stop sitting. It was so unbelievably joyous. And then it wouldn't be that the next day, and I would go, what did I do wrong? And the thing is, you never do anything wrong. There are days it appears and days it doesn't appear. There's days where it's sunny and days where it's not sunny. That's just how it works. And then you have to learn that. And you go, okay, absence is as valuable as presence. Absence is a form of presence. It's just the opposite side of the coin. And you start to embrace and hold on to the totality. And when you do that, you start to relax into it. And you don't look for it to be this or be that, but to be what it is and what it wants to be in that moment. And it's enough. and you start to get a sense that it's enough. You go, it's perfect. It's perfect. Nothing can be perfect. Everything can be perfect, and everything in between is perfect. And you feel that, and that's what meditation did for me. And it also gave me a weather report every morning about what the psychic weather was going to be out there. It's going to be a stormy day, a lovely day, a easy, difficult time. And at night when I would sit before I went to bed, I would sit, for however long until suddenly the day finished out, quieted down, and I would go, whoop, sleep, and I was asleep immediately. That was really a good thing. It's a wonderful mechanism, but it's got to be worked. And if you don't work it, then nothing happens. Wade.
Just add to that, because I know what Blanche is saying, it's like some days you'll sit and it's like, wow, that was great, so sit. And the next day you got nothing, you're just sitting there, nothing. But then what will happen to me so often is later on in the day, because I did do my sit in the morning and I thought nothing happened, all of a sudden I'm walking around and I'm getting that feeling that you're just talking about. It's like you got everything and and it couldn't be better.
Yeah,
And it doesn't, and that's it.
I agree. That's what it is. It doesn't always come in the sit, but it comes. It comes, and it comes enough that the thank you starts to rise up in a big way, a really big way, and you don't quite know what to do with it. I mean, I've told you guys, when I went to India, and I was at Bodh Gaya and Sarnath and Ganesh Puri and these places of importance in my past, and I literally laid on the ground, prostrate, straight down, face on the ground, thanking the universe, just thanking it. And what's been so phenomenal for me since India last March is that hasn't stopped. I couldn't say thank you enough. And how all of you came up in my gratitude. I mean, individually, thank you. And because every one of you, none of you have a clue how beautiful you are. You don't know. You don't know how resonant you are, how unique you are, how special, and how lucky I feel to have connected with every single one of you. You have no idea. And that's how you'll feel with everybody else in your life. You will feel like the luckiest person ever, because everyone you met was an emanation of this divine truth. It's really remarkable. Not to know that, not to feel that, not to have the muscle to hold on to that or to let go of it, however you want to look at that muscle. Until you understand the freeing principle behind all of this, you don't know what it's for. But when you suddenly realize how much it offers, you kind of want to sell it to everybody, but there's not a big audience. Most of what I'm saying, there aren't many people who listen to this stuff, but people who do and hear it are happy. Jill.
I think it's individual. It's how you decide to use it, because I think one thing, as you were talking yesterday, I thought about it on the way home last night. What I really got that I use in the last 4 years or so is that when I have a lot on my plate to do, and a lot of it is timely and has to be done, there's that sense that comes to you to get overwhelmed. You really have it. It's just like, it's this big thing closing in. And what I've learned to do is just go, again, just put it away and say, it'll sort itself out. I'm just going to do what comes next. Do what comes next. And it's interesting how it just falls into place the way it's supposed to.
Your whole life will be like that. That's really, it's not programmatic. It's not this happens, that happens, that happens. Your life has its own very distinct recipe, and it will turn itself into the soup it's supposed to be. And your job is to figure it out step by step in the same way you're describing. Overwhelm, you'll learn pretty early, doesn't help.
No.
Yeah, and stress.
And I watch people do that.
Oh yeah.
They go in, they actually feed into overwhelm. And I'm a florist too, and so there's a place I work, and the owner, he goes, it's comical to me now, like he goes into crazy space on the holidays, and it's almost like he enjoys it.
Yeah, well, people do, and you have to allow that. People do enjoy their insanity and their misery and their suffering. I know people who fight all the time, and They wouldn't know how to relate to each other if they didn't fight all the time. You know, I mean, I look at it as, really? But that's what they want to do, and that's how they do it. You can't be judgmental in the end. The only thing that I feel I offer from having sat for so long and then suddenly awakened in a very real sense is the possibility of the amazement and wonder of it, and wanting to share that as not unique to me. It is not unique to anyone. Anybody can get there. We are all these incredible configurations of God consciousness. That's what we are, every one of us. And to be lost in that configuration is usually sad, because it creates such suffering for other people as well as you. To learn to free yourself of that begins to do a great service to the world and to you. And there's a way to do it, but it has to be directed by this inner knowing, which comes by going deep inside, which then has the uplift and the rising into higher consciousness, which then floods back down into this realm and makes this realm part of that consciousness. So I've been talking recently about the horizontals and the verticals. You start to rise and live on higher levels of awareness until ultimately you're not just visiting those spaces, you build your house up there. Or Rudy would even say, don't bother, because there's a higher level beyond that. Don't build a house, rent, you know? Just go to those places, find your experience, and then it gets bigger. And you go, oh, seriously, it gets bigger and bigger. And there's no way to carry the other stuff with you, so you just let it go, and you go to the next place and go, how did this happen? You know, and your worldly stuff is always going to be compromised by worldly stuff. You know, you're going to lose it. You know, stock market's going to go up and down, or you won't have any money to put in the market, or you know, the backyard tree's falling over and you can't afford to, you know, get someone to take it out of the yard. I mean, this kind of stuff goes on all the time. That's day-to-day material life. It's what draws us into the world. But don't get overwhelmed by it, because you can only do so much. And if you have to live with a rotten tree falling in your backyard for a while, take pictures and paint it, and look, it could be beautiful. You know, you could turn it into something special. Who knows? And then at the right time, the insects will take care of it, and you won't have a tree anymore. But it's just a journey. It's a journey, and you have to figure the journey out for yourself. Nobody's going to figure it out for you. This is a particular way of looking. You know, you can read, you know, all these other philosophers and theologians and spiritual guys, and they'll tell you different versions. Find the one that speaks to you and do it. Just do it. But don't sit back and complain, and don't say, I don't have time, because what else have you got? And it's going quick. Is that it? Okay, thank you. It's lunchtime. I'm probably going to go for a walk, and anybody who wants to go on the walk is welcome after lunch. And then 3 o'clock, we'll meet back here for one last session for this trip. And, you know, I can't promise anything for next year. I'm finding myself unable to project that far. I can't project till tomorrow, to be honest. I'm finding projection meaningless. But if things go according to some kind of larger plan, we'll be sitting here a year from now, or like in May or June, and we'll keep this thing going, okay? Lots of love. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you, Bruce.